Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Living in Denver. Got a really fun episode for you today where I'm actually going to be sharing with you three of the neighborhoods within 20 minutes of downtown Denver that I think are some of the best to check out here in 2025. What I want to do today, though, is actually utilize Google Maps and some different software that I use as a realtor on my computer. And we're going to be going in depth so I can really show you a different perspective on exactly where these three areas are and what makes each of them so special. So we're going to do a lot of this today on a brand new episode of Living in Denver. Really excited to share all of that with you guys, so stay tuned. All right, so here we are in the office as I'm getting ready to take you guys into Google Maps. Really excited because this is a great way, especially if you're not that familiar with Denver and some of these different areas that I'm going to share with you guys, just to be able to dig a little bit deeper with this screen view that we have that we're going to do today. So I'm excited to do all of this with you guys. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and first start off by just making me a little bit smaller. And what I wanted to show you is just an overview of Denver and explain how these three specific suburb neighborhoods that are all great if you do want to be close to downtown Denver. And I'm using a 20-minute kind of a commute time to identify these areas that are within about a 20-minute drive for people that are still commuting to work and want to be close, but still have this great ability to be more in a suburb with all the other, fantastic things that Denver has to offer outdoors, which some of these you aren't able to get if you really do live in a more urban downtown type environment. So the first of these three areas is going to be Lakewood. And Lakewood is an area that I actually grew up very, very close to. I grew up in Wheat Ridge. I went to Wheat Ridge High School. We were the Farmers, and we, competed against Lakewood. Lakewood was a very unique school back when I was in high school, about 25 years ago at this point, because they had a program there called the IB Inter-Baccalaureate program. So they had some very intelligent, very, very smart people that went to this IB program. Some of them actually that were friends of mine from Wheat Ridge. And then once they got to the high school age, they chose to go to Lakewood just for this reason. So Lakewood has a really good program when it comes to that higher level of education for the high school age range. But again, guys, I just wanted to just start off by showing you where Lakewood is on the map, starting very, plain and simple. So if you look here, you can see Denver, and that's just really the downtown Denver area. I-25 is our main highway that goes north and south, and then we have a few that go east and west. The main one that most people use and are more familiar with that are out-of-towners is I-70, and that's because I-70 takes you to the holy grail of Colorado, which is all of our ski areas, all of the mountain towns. So I-70 takes you westbound up to the mountains. If you go east, you can go out to Kansas and, a bunch of stuff out east as well. But I-70 is the east-west, I-25 is the north-south. But what's great about Lakewood is you also have Highway 6. So as again, showing you here downtown Denver, Lakewood is just to the west and a little bit to the south. You can see Wheat Ridge here as well, which is again where I grew up, but we're bordering Lakewood, so very familiar with Lakewood as well. But what I wanted to show you is this Highway 6. So Highway 6 is another great path to take into downtown Denver if you do still commute to work and you are living in the Lakewood area. Highway 6 is one of the more fast roads in the Denver area. I think there are still definitely times a day where it also gets bogged down with traffic, just like all the other main highways do in Denver. But Highway 6, I think, is really, in my opinion, one of the better roads when it comes to just very efficient. You can get in and out of the Highway 6 area pretty quickly, especially if you are trying to get to downtown Denver. So a lot of the areas that are in Lakewood, you have this direct, easy access to Highway 6. So Highway 6, again, just goes pretty much right from downtown Denver. When you get over here, so this is, going into the downtown Denver area, this is the Broncos Stadium. Right here, this big mousetrap. If you're taking Highway 6 east to go into Denver in the morning, All you do is just take it right into here. You can then either take I-25 from here and get into town that way, or what a lot of people do is they actually go even further east into this area over here, and then it's just that much easier to get to wherever they are trying to go, whether it be the downtown Denver core, or a lot of people now are also working, for example, in Cherry Creek. So Cherry Creek, if you take Highway 6 just a little bit further, you're going to see right here the Denver Country Club. And just to the east of that right here is the Cherry Creek Mall. So I'll just do a little street view just to show you. So yep, pop up Nordstrom. Kind of took me into a little bit of a back alley, but just to make the point that we really are, in a very convenient, easy path when you're on Highway 6 to get pretty much anywhere you need to go in Denver. I know I'm talking on this video about the commute and just people that are trying to work and be in downtown Denver, but still live somewhere within about a 20 to 25-minute drive. But another reason why I think Lakewood is great with this Highway 6 is if you take Highway 6 from wherever you're living in Lakewood and you actually go the other direction, if you go out west, Highway 6 will take you right into the Colorado Mills Shopping Center, which is an area that's really improved a lot in my lifetime. This was just basically car dealerships back in the day, and now it's all been, revamped, and there's a ton of both indoor shopping center mall, but also all kinds of great retail and just, restaurants, bars, movie theaters, everything you can ask for in this Colorado Mills area. So if you are living in Lakewood, I would say the two shopping centers or just areas you're going to spend a lot of your time, one of them would be going a little bit further west, not quite to Golden, but just into this 6th Avenue West and Colorado Mills Shopping Center. But the bigger one is going to be Belmar. So Belmar, if I zoom in a little bit more, is just one of the best, in my opinion, shopping centers in all of Denver. But what I love about it is how easy it is to just kind of get in and out and do whatever you got to do and then, be on your way. Since a lot of the stores are outdoor, it's not like an interior, traditional mall. You could really just drive up to pretty much any store you're trying to go to and then just walk right into that store and then back out. So I think it's just a lot more efficient than some of the other shopping centers. I will also, though, share with you guys that one thing that's cool is if you're not from Colorado, but maybe you're from the West Coast, maybe California or Arizona, and you're a big In-N-Out Burger fan, Colorado actually started also getting In-N-Out Burger chains about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. And the first one that I went to in Denver was actually right here in Belmar. So it's located, I think it's like right here we go, In-N-Out Burger. So, you have, I'll just put you a little, there we go, just to show you guys in the street level view. So we got In-N-Out Burger here. So another thing that I'll point out when it comes to, let's get here back on the Google map view here. Another nice thing about just this area of Lakewood and where this Belmar is located is we have like 3 main streets when it comes to the west side of Denver, and that's going to be Wadsworth, Kipling, and Sheridan. And with Lakewood, you have all 3 of these. They're all north-south roads, as you can see on the far left-hand side of my screen here. Right here, you've got Kipling right here. Also, you can see, I apologize. Let's see here. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Make sure I'm showing you guys the right street. Yeah, sorry about that. I was correct. Yeah, that's Kipling Street there. And then just to the slightly, maybe about a mile and a half to the east, you've got Wadsworth. And you go a little bit further, you got Sheridan. So all 3 of these are just really easy to go north-south on and kind of get to wherever you're trying to go. And if you live in Lakewood, maybe you're a little bit further south and you need to go to downtown Denver, you just would take Wadsworth or Kipling up to Highway 6 and then just shoot out east from there. So again, though, I just think that one of the things about this Lakewood area that is great is the Belmar, as well as the Colorado Mills Shopping Center, and just the ability to get that much closer to the mountains. So when you live on the west side of Denver, you just have a lot more easy access to get on and off of I-70 going west up to the mountains. If it's let's just say a Saturday morning in February and you want to go up skiing, just to be on this western side of town versus maybe out east in Aurora, you're going to have probably, I'd say, a 30 to maybe even 40-minute shorter drive to the ski mountain each direction. So, we got a lot of people now going skiing on the weekends, the weekend warriors. It's already an extended period of time in the car anyways. To make it that much longer by being out far east in Denver, that just really is to the point where it almost isn't even worth it, in my opinion. It just gets to the point where you're maybe in the car for 2.5 to maybe 3.5 hours each direction. Ski for 3-4 hours and you're in the car for 5 or 6 hours or 7 hours. The ratio there isn't the best. So just wanted to point that out, that with Lakewood, you are on the western side of town, so that part is a little bit better. And then a couple last things I'll share with you guys about Lakewood. The first is, if you're familiar at all with the show South Park, it's an animated comedy. It's been around for, I think, over 20 years now. It's one of the longest running animated weekly shows, I think, ever at this point, after The Simpsons. But anyways, the founders, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they actually went to CU Boulder, and they are billionaires at this point, but they purchased Casa Bonita a few years ago, which is this really fun, very different dining experience. I share a lot more about this in my neighborhood guide as well as my relocation guide. It's a locals guide to Denver. If you guys want a free copy of that, I'll put the link down below. But with Casa Bonita, you go into this restaurant and there's all kinds of cool stuff. There's cliff divers. There's this big monkey that runs around. There's a puppeteer. There's just like all this crazy stuff in a Mexican restaurant. So it used to have really, really bad food. It was closed down for almost 2 years after Matt Parker and Trey Stone bought it, and they put a ton of money into it. I think the final dollar amount was, pushing $30 million of investment to get this, to where they wanted it to be. So pretty insane how much money has been invested into this restaurant. So definitely check that out. Casa Bonita is in between, Kipling and, let me just zoom in and actually I'll find it here for you. Another big road is Colfax, which is just another one of the kind of main roads you're going to be on if you are in this Lakewood area. And in fact, I'll just type it in here to make it a little bit quicker here for us. Casa Bonita on West Colfax in Lakewood. It's right here. So just so you guys can see what it looks like in case this might be a little bit more of a refresher for what Casa Bonita is. So that's Black Bart's Cave. We've got just the entrance here. So there's just, again, it's this big pink castle. I have a lot more info in it again about it on that relocation guide. So download a free copy of that and learn a little bit more about it there. Before we move on though, from Lakewood, the last few things I'll share with you. On my website, just go to adamsillsdenver.com. And if you click Explore Denver, on this page, I have this interactive map. And you can click any area. I've got over 20 places all within the Denver area. If you click Lakewood, you can have a ton of other resources here. What you can do is you can check out, the different listings that are currently in the area, learn more about the neighborhood with some market reports, the schools, all kinds of good stuff. But what I wanted to show you with today is just an example of some of the housing options that exist here. They really range a lot in the Lakewood area. Lakewood is an area that is a little bit older. And what I mean by that is, there's, I'd say, a fairly large percentage of homeowners that have been in their homes for a very long time, and they're getting to the age now in their late 70s, early to mid 80s, where they're potentially moving into retirement homes or just assisted living facilities. And you're finding a lot of opportunities in Lakewood and Wheat Ridge where there are these 1930 to 1950 built homes. So, pushing 70 years old, but a lot of opportunity for just improvements. If you're maybe on a little bit of a budget and you're looking for areas that have homes that are fixer-uppers and just have value-add opportunities, I think Wheat Ridge and Lakewood are two of my favorite and definitely recommendations for these types of homes. So definitely check out Lakewood for that. But here's just an example of, just a few of the listings that are in the area. And then what I also wanted to show you, if you go to this page, I've got links to a ton of different videos on my YouTube channel. You guys obviously are aware of that since you're watching this video, but I do have one that's all about Lakewood, and I have my 3 favorite things about Lakewood in this video. So definitely go onto my channel and search for that. I'll also put a link to this exact video down in the show notes, so you can check that out. But just to kind of give you a little bit of an example of just what we're looking for here, there's Lakewood again on the western side of town. But what I wanted to show you is how you've got a ton of water. You've got Bear Creek Lake Park, which is a fantastic place to check out. Bear Creek Lake Park is right here. If you look here, it's going to be a little bit further to the west from where this pin is. Actually, take it back. It's actually down right here. That's Chatfield. It might be small. We're not seeing it on the map quite yet, but Bear Creek Lake Park is really cool. There's paddle boarding, a ton of just people hanging out in the summertime. It's got this really cool beach that, again, in the summer, there's a lot of people that are just enjoying it as a place to, socialize and hang out on the weekends. So check out Bear Creek Lake Park, which is also right next to Red Rocks Amphitheater, my favorite place in the world to see live music. So Lakewood has a lot of cool stuff available for you to check out. Before we move on, last thing I'll just share with you again, though, is with Lakewood, specifically that Belmar area that I showed you, the morning commute from there to downtown Denver, it's right at that 20 to 25 minute range, and it's similar in the evening. The only thing that makes this commute a little bit different from these other two is with Lakewood, since you're taking Highway 6, one thing about Highway 6 is in certain times of the morning, depending on what time of year it is, there is incredibly bad sun glare where you almost cannot even see what you're doing, where you're going, to the point where they actually close down the highway once in a while because it's so bad and such a high risk for people to potentially get in an accident. So something just to keep in mind. Very rare that happens, but regardless if it actually closes the road down or not, it is definitely, though, a bright and sometimes really just annoying commute if it is that time of year and time of day when that sun is just really blasting you. If you're commuting into downtown Denver in the morning, you're going to get hit with it in the morning. And then depending on what time you're driving back home after work, sometimes you'll hit it a second time in the evening, especially on the shorter days in the winter months. So just something to keep in mind. Not a deal breaker by any means, but definitely something that I've just always had to deal with as I've always lived on this western side of town in that Wheat Ridge, Lakewood, Littleton area. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our second neighborhood, which is going to be Arvada. All right, so now jumping into our second neighborhood that is also within that 20 to 25 minute commute time to downtown Denver, a great area to live in my opinion. And this is going to be Arvada. So Arvada has a very large footprint as far as different parts of Arvada. Some are better than others. A lot of my different clients and friends and people that I've taken around to explore this area in more depth have definitely had mixed feedback on whether or not they've liked it. And that has a lot to do just with what part of Arvada we happen to be exploring. So one thing about Arvada is a lot of it is unincorporated Jefferson County. And unincorporated portions of any county have definitely some pros and some cons. So one of the pros of an unincorporated area is a lot less restrictions. So Arvada in the past had seen a lot more, for example, short-term rentals because there was less restrictions on the zoning when it came to short-term rentals, meaning 30 days or less. There's also a lot of areas in Arvada that are in this unincorporated Jefferson County where you're going to find homes and just neighborhoods that might look a little bit less maintained and kept really nice. And just a better way for me to explain this would be, since this is unincorporated, a lot of people work out of their primary residences in the area. And sometimes that's going to mean that there's going to be a garage that might have a workshop, or there might be some different trucks or, business related equipment that might be in the front yard or in the driveway all the time. That since there are less restrictions and covenants and, things that are keeping people's properties upkept and really, cookie cutter and clean, because there's not that much of restrictions, you sometimes are going to find neighborhoods that are just looking a little bit more disheveled than others. And that's, for some people, a deal breaker. But again, there are some pros to that, and that's just the less restrictions mean you have a little bit more freedom with what you want to do on your property. So could be a benefit to you depending on what your ideal type of home is. So let's jump again into the map section just so I can show you guys a few things about Arvada specifically. And the first thing I'm going to show you is just where it's located. So Arvada is north of Lakewood and Wheat Ridge. So, the first area that I was showing you guys here, let's get this backed up a little bit here. There we go. So You can see downtown Denver again here, Lakewood, Wheat Ridge, and then just north of Wheat Ridge is Arvada. If you can see the dotted red lines, that's showing you how, again, large of an area Arvada is and how there are so many different parts that have, again, their pros and their cons. I'll share a few of my favorite parts of Arvada with you in a second, but before I do, the only other thing I wanted to first mention is similar to Lakewood and Wheat Ridge, one of the reasons why I love those areas is the same for Arvada, which is since it is on the western side of town, you do have that easier access, not to Highway 6 like we did with Lakewood, but really just to I-70 and also a really nice, easier access compared with a lot of other parts of Denver to Golden and also to Boulder. So if you guys really like the outdoor lifestyle, both Golden and Boulder are two of my favorite areas when it comes to hiking. A lot of really nice bars and different restaurants that have outdoor patios. A lot of them are dog friendly. Just a lot of, I think, areas within Golden, Arvada, and then obviously in Boulder that really embrace that Colorado kind of outdoor mountain active lifestyle. So if you are in Arvada, you have a lot easier access to both of those places, and you're gonna have a lot of really nice views of Boulder, of just the western slope, just some beautiful parts of Arvada when it comes to views. So if you guys look, if you look a little bit to the north, so you can see the dotted red line here is, again, the border of Arvada. Stanley Lake is really, really pretty, has some of those great views that I was mentioning, but there's one of my favorite coffee shops, and also it's going to be a great sports bar for checking out the game on Sundays, and that's called Jack's, also known as Steamer's Coffee Shop, and it is in this Village at Five Parks. So Village at Five Parks is a pretty small little shopping center. There's not a ton there, but one of the places is this Jack's Bar and Grill, and I'll put this also in the description down below the video, but also definitely on my Locals Guide to Denver that I mentioned. You get a free copy if you just click that link down below. On there, I have more info on Jack's and Steamer's Coffee Shop. But I have a sister who has special needs, and she actually worked here for a several-year period of time, and it was just a phenomenal place. They employ a lot of adults with special needs. They make this great jam and jelly that I love to give to different friends and clients and just people over the holidays just to really support this small business. Just a very cool, special business. So definitely check out Jack's and Steamer's Coffee Shop. That's on that far northern side of Arvada, pushing into that Stanley Lake area, which you can see here. One thing I wanted to show you though too is the downtown, also known as Old Town Arvada. So if you guys look over here, we've got Wadsworth again, which is one of the busiest, most used north-south roads, similar to Kipling and Sheridan that I had shared with you earlier about Lakewood. Since Arvada is just north of Lakewood, you have those same north-south streets as you do in Lakewood that you do also here in Arvada, and Wadsworth is really the main one. And Wadsworth used to be a pretty easy road to take. However, I will say, since this area is continuing to grow by the year, by the month, Wadsworth can get really, really congested. So I do my best to try and stay off of Arvada, off of Wadsworth when I'm in Arvada. So there are some back roads and just some better options once you get familiar with this area. But Old Town Arvada is, I think, the coolest part of town because you have a lot of walkability. You have also great access to the light rail. So if you are commuting to downtown Denver, it's also that similar 20 to 25 minute commute time, both in the morning and evening. But since you have this very, very accessible light rail public transportation system, you can really take the headache out of the commute and be able to just, literally from a lot of homes, walk to the light rail station, get straight into downtown and be able to, go from door to door, from your home to the door of your office pretty seamlessly. Downtown Arvada, though, has a ton of just really cool, a lot of locally owned and operated businesses. Just show you a few other just pictures here, just to give you a little bit of an example. Here we've got, just one of the main intersections. The light rail is just like right here. And what's also cool, and another thing just to point out, is Old Town Arvada has this big water tower, so it's very easy to spot no matter where you are. in Arvada just to kind of get your bearings on what part of town you're in. And it's cool. It's really pretty. You also, though, have, like I said, really nice views of the western slope. And here we just have one last picture I'll share with you, just an inside, I guess, if that's one of the light rail trains. There's the tower again. So anyways, a lot of cool stuff in Old Town Arvada. The last thing that I will share before moving on from Arvada is that I think that it is one of the areas that still has more value add opportunities because of that unincorporated Jefferson County. So if you are looking for a home that maybe has some opportunities for value add, what I mean by that is homes that have potential to do some fixing up or creatively building out the space to be, more desirable if you ever were to resell it. Arvada has a lot of opportunity there because there's less restrictions, and also because some of the homes here are similar to Wheat Ridge and Lakewood, where they're a little bit older. And I'm starting to see a lot of the homes that are being listed and selling right now over the last couple years are people that are moving into assisted living and just that next phase of life. So a lot of these homes haven't been upgraded too much, where you're able to go in, kind of do your own thing, put your own personal touch on it, and really create the home that you want. So definitely an area to look at if that's something that applies to you. And I will also share one last place that I just thought of that I want to also share with you, which is the Arvada Center. So on Wadsworth Boulevard, from that Old Town area, if you just keep going further north, you have the Arvada Center for the Arts and Humanities. I always just call it the Arvada Center, but the Arvada Center is awesome. It is this really special place for not only plays and different live theater performances, but they also have a really just unique front. It's basically, I'd say maybe about a 10 to 15 acre parcel of nice flat land where they have all kinds of cool structures. And these structures are built by artists and they change over time. Different artists, put their different exhibits in here and then they take them out and they update them all the time. So it's stuff like this. You just find all these really cool artistic just installations out in this field right in front of the Arvada Center. I know some of these are a little bit more exciting than others, but it's one of these things that really you need to go out and see it for yourself to get the full perspective on what I'm referring to here. But just a very cool, different benefit and feature of this Arvada area. Indian Tree Golf Club is just north of there. It's a fun golf course to check out too if you're more of a beginner intermediate, want a place that's just more of an entry level, not that expensive. They also have a par 3 course there, so nice place to check out. Before we move on for Arvada, one last thing. So similar to what I did with Lakewood, I'll just show you guys here as well. If you go to my website, click Explore Denver on the top, and you just go back to this map view and you click Arvada. With Arvada, you can have that same different stuff to access and learn a little bit more. Again, as I shared with you earlier, look how big of an area this is. It really is a large chunk of that northwestern side of Denver. And, homes are going to be a pretty good range here. There's some certain areas in Arvada that have really been had a lot of money invested into them, where you'll find homes that are, well over $1 million. There's even a private ski lake community in this Arvada area. So you really do have a lot of different options when it comes to styles of homes, price points, all of that stuff. So definitely take a look there. At the bottom, you can also click this link for the pros and cons of living in Arvada, which is a separate video that I created. This one's a little bit older, so please bear with me if the audio is not perfect, but still has a lot of valuable info here. I'll put the show notes link for you to access this video directly as well. So that's Arvada for you. Now, let's move on to the third and final neighborhood that I also think is a great option for you guys to check out. All right, so third and final neighborhood today to share with you. This one is also awesome. These three aren't in any particular order. They're just all three areas that I think are great when it comes to that 20 to 25 minute commute time. If you are looking for areas that are great for if you are a person that's going to be commuting to downtown Denver and working, or at least maybe not even that. Maybe you just want to have a home that's close to all of the other great stuff that downtown Denver and that urban lifestyle environment offers you. Bronco Stadium, all the different art exhibits, theaters, all that great stuff, restaurants. I could go on and on and on. So again, this third area is also though going to be a little bit on that western side of town. This one is going to be Highlands and Sunnyside Sloan Lake. So let me go down to the smaller view again here just to show you where we're going to be going for this third and final area. Also going to be on the western side of town, but this time it's going to be a lot closer to downtown Denver. So as you can see here, if we zoom in, I-70 is again this big west-east. We got I-25, we've got Wadsworth here. So let's back up a little bit more so I can show you I-25, which is a little bit further east of here. Here we go. So we've got Arvada on the northwest. We've got Lakewood, which is right down here. Further north is Wheat Ridge and Edgewater, which is that area that I grew up in. And just further to the east, again, is this Highlands and Sunnyside, and even a little bit of Sloan Lake area that I want to share as my third one. And I'm putting this third one on here because it is the closest of all three when it comes to commuting. This one, depending on how you're commuting, could be even as easy as just a bike ride, or maybe it's even a walk on a nice day. So this one is very convenient if you are trying to go into downtown Denver on a very frequent basis. And I love Sloan Lake, I love Highlands and Sunnyside. A little bit impartial because I lived here for a long time, but I just love it because I think it's one of the perfect blends of both that urban Denver, city lifestyle, yet you are just far enough removed where you can still have a little bit of breathing room and a lot of other outdoor activities and just amenities that are all within a 5 to 10 minute bike ride or even walk in a lot of cases, such as going out and walking around Sloan Lake. So let's first start off though by just giving you again a little bit broader perspective on what we're talking about here. So Highland is right here. Highland is right across from the downtown Denver, lower downtown area. Coors Field, obviously that's our Colorado Rockies baseball stadium. So we have, very great accessibility with the Highlands and Sloan Lake and Sunnyside neighborhoods when it comes to just ease of access. We also have a lot of the little scooters. Lime is one company. I think Lyft also has theirs now, where you put your credit card in, a couple bucks, and you have these scooters that you can take all over town. This is a great option if you do live over here because you can just ditch the scooter wherever you are that you're going and then not have to worry about parking or having to come back and get it later. So if you haven't never done that before, it's a really cool way just to explore town as well. So we got here though, Sunnyside, Highlands is a little bit to the west, and then down here we got Sloan Lake. What I wanted to show you with this one, a couple things. First off, back on the website, if you go up to the same idea as the other two, Explore Denver, and then down here you click on this one. It's not going to be showing up independently. It's going to be under Denver. And that's because Highland and Sloan Lake are really just neighborhoods or just names of areas within there. So if you just click Denver, you'll be able to, kind of fine tune things a bit. It's not going to be as easy as the other two when it comes to, this is going to be including a lot of the data just for all of Denver, not just Highland. But at the very bottom of this, I also have some video links where you can learn a little bit more about Highlands, including actually a listing that I had a couple years ago where I do an in-depth walkthrough just to show you what a home in this area can look like, what to maybe expect as one example of a home in the Highlands Sloan Lake area. Also, I have another great video if you guys go to the YouTube channel. It's called The 5 Hottest Denver Neighborhoods. I'll have a link again in the show notes, but there's a lot of really good info about Highlands in this video. So definitely think this is one you should look at in a little bit more depth if Highlands is interesting to you. But what I wanted to also share with you though, when it comes to this part of town, is two things. First off, how you have great access to not just Highway 6, but also I-70. You just have really almost every major road as far as getting further distances, like going up to the mountains as an example, or maybe even going up further north, or maybe going down south to Littleton, or maybe you even want to go all the way down south to Colorado Springs. You just have a lot of very, very easy access when you're in Highlands and Sunnyside. And that's because you have I-25 in some cases within just a block or two of where you might live. So really good access from Highland to get onto I-25. Sunnyside would just be north of Highland. So right here is Sunnyside. So these are just areas that do have much easier access to downtown Denver, but also really good access to really anywhere you need to get in Denver because you are so close to I-25 going north and south. And just slightly north of Sunnyside, you have I-70 going out east and west. I have separate videos all about Tennyson Street, but Tennyson Street is an area I definitely recommend you also check out. Tennyson is where the Elitch Gardens, our old amusement park, used to exist before Six Flags purchased them and they moved down by the Broncos Stadium. But before, it was Elitch Gardens, and it was off 38th and Tennyson, which is right over here. Right here, let's see here, we got Tennyson Street. This Berkeley Lake, this is a cool little area. But if we go a little bit further down here, 38th Avenue. So over in this area is where it used to be, Elitch Gardens. But this Tennyson Street just has a ton of really, really, really cool stuff. I'll just click one of these just as an example, just to show you. Let's see here, we'll do a street view for this. So this would be Tennyson. If you just keep going down, you'll see lots of mixed use where there's different styles of homes between townhomes, condos, single family homes, a lot of really nice options in Tennyson. And then you're going to have, though, these really cool, like right here, some of these are homes, but a lot of these are actually small businesses. And just, again, so many different options when you live here for walkability. I was actually with my girlfriend and some other friends last weekend. We went to a really fun golf simulator. There's this indoor bar that had these 3 different golf simulators, and we had a birthday we were celebrating, so we were there with some friends and had a blast. A lot of cool stuff in this Tennyson area, also known as Berkeley. That's another area that another term that you'll commonly hear for this Berkeley Tennyson area. The Oriental Theater is really fun. If you keep going even further south from here, let me back up out of this screen. Just gonna type in Tennyson. All right, so what I was gonna show you guys is there's also Tennyson will take you into Arvada. So, and I said going south, I meant to say, sorry, going north from where we just were. So where we just were was right down here. I think we were at like 44th Avenue where the Oriental Theater was, right here. So if you just go a little bit north of there, another great park here called Berkeley Lake Park. This is actually right next to Lakeside Amusement Park, which is another fun historical place of Denver. And if you go further north, though, in Tennyson, you'll eventually get into Arvada again. And up here is where you'll find some of that really cool neighborhoods, such as where you have a private water ski lake. You've just got a lot of just really cool stuff on this part of Arvada right here. So definitely check that part out as well if you guys are getting kind of interested and want to learn a little bit more about kind of this Arvada, but also what we're really talking about is that Highland Sloan Lake area. As you can tell, a lot of these areas are all kind of connected with one another. They're all on that either northern or more so just that western side of downtown Denver. Before we close out, I just wanted to also share with you on the website, if you go even further down on any of these areas, a lot of these different restaurants, bars, all these different places that I've been talking about today, you can learn a lot more about all of these here as well. So definitely check that out. And really with that, I just want to close out by just reminding you guys that all 3 of these had very similar commute times. They were all in that 15-minute, which would be really the high end if you're in the West Highland Sloan Lake area, since you're just really right across from downtown Denver in this area. And then the others were really in that 20 to 25-minute range. So everything that I showed you today is within a 25-minute drive. And that's being, I think, a little bit conservative. It could be a little bit quicker than this too, depending on where exactly you're located in any of these 3 areas. So love all 3 of these. If you guys have any questions on any of these, feel free to reach out. I would love to share more, since this is a part of Denver that I've spent almost my entire life living in. And again, more than anything else, we just love the opportunity to connect with you guys. So all that info that's on the screen down below, feel free to reach out, phone, email, shoot me a text, whatever's most convenient. I love just learning a little bit more about you and how I might be able to provide some value to you, whether it be today, tomorrow, maybe you're not even considering moving for another year or 2. It's still just a great opportunity for us to connect. And I know that I can provide some value to you guys today, regardless. So hopefully you'll take me up on that offer and I can get a chance to meet you face to face over a Zoom call. But with that being said, hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to sharing a brand new episode of Living in Denver with you next week. I'll see you then. Bye.